Hey y'all, it's time for Thursday BookTube. It's been a while since I've done a BookTube, uh, but I thought I would share uh, a cooking type book. Uh, it's called Stocking Up, Volume 3, and I have used this book many times uh, during the first, I'd say, the first 22 years of my marriage. I did a lot of mm, canning and preserving and, using the land to eat off of. And so I got this book. Um, I got it May 15th, 1987. It's from Rodale Press, and it was published in 1986 by Rodale Press. Now I'll read to you some of uh, the contents. Um, it starts off with fruits and vegetables, choosing fruit and vegetable varieties. Uh, it gives you information about harvesting, freezing fruits and vegetables, canning fruits and vegetables, drying fruits and vegetables, underground storage, pickles and relishes, jams and jellies and fruit butters, and juicing your harvest. So, we had a garden for all those years that we were married, except for, I guess, the last 5 years when my husband started bluegrassing. Uh, he, uh, he was more interested in bluegrassing than he was having a garden. But we grew our own vegetables. I made my own, I would can vegetables, green beans, and we grew purple hull peas, which are a favorite here in the South. And you pick them, shell them, put them in a gallon freezer bag, and put them in the freezer, and they were just fine. I have done dried vegetables. Uh, my father had bought a dehydrator, and so I made things, banana chips, and I think my favorite thing was I used to buy uh, dried corn from the food co-op, and I would grind it, mix it with a little salt, and then make it in little circles and put it on that dehydrator, and it was like eating corn chips. They were so good, delicious. Underground storage. I really hadn't done that. I do remember one year we bought, uh, we had tomato plants. I think it was beefsteak, and it was almost the end of October, and the weather, had been warm. But I had a lot of big, big tomatoes on the vine that were green. So I picked them, picked all of them, and wrapped them in newspaper and put them in bushel baskets. And I had a closet that never saw the light of day. Put those tomatoes in there, and at Christmas time we were eating fresh tomatoes. And jams, jellies, and fruit butters. I've made orange marmalade, wild cherry jelly, uh, apple butter, pear preserves. I mean, you can make jelly out of anything. You can use purple hull shells, watermelon rind, it doesn't matter. And of course, we did have a juicer for a while, and I would juice a lot of the uh, vegetables that we had. And the first place we lived was this duplex, and it was on 54 acres. And the landlord would let us partake of all that was there. There were 3 ponds. My husband would go fishing. Uh, the landlord had guinea hens, and so I would go out and collect eggs. Sometimes I'd find, a couple of dozen eggs. Sometimes I might find 10. It just depended. And my husband also did hunt there for a while. He would hunt raccoon, and we raised the hog, and he butchered that, and um, we had rabbits for a while, and for meat. And I learned to cook a rabbit. It's very, it doesn't have a lot of fat in it. It's very dry, and it's always good to have gravy with your rabbit. And then the other contents for dairy foods: storing milk, cream, eggs, homemade butter, homemade cheese, homemade yogurt and other fermented milk products, and homemade ice creams. Of course, now I told you, I would collect eggs from those guinea hen, and after several years, we got our own chickens, and so I had my own eggs. Uh, and we did have dairy goats. I had 3 goats that I milked twice a day, and I milked them. I'm having to, excuse me, I'm having to keep my computer uh, recording. It seems to want to die away for some reason. Anyway, so I would milk 3 goats a day at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and 1 o'clock in the morning, because my husband was working second shift, and that was the time that I would milk the goats. And we had 1 goat. Her name was Shannon, and her milk was like 3%, which is like whole milk. And then there was Pearl, and she was a Simon goat, and her milk was more like 2%. And then the other goat, hers was kind of in between. So I would use Shannon's milk to make cheese, goat cheese. Very, very simple to do. Uh, and I didn't make butter with that milk, because I drank a lot of it, because I love milk, and I could drink it by the gallons. Um, and of course, I'd make ice cream sometimes. And then there's the meats, poultry, and fish: preparing meats and poultry for storage, freezing meats and poultry, canning and drying meats for poultry, and preparing and storing fish. My husband, he really loved fish, and so, that was about the first 3 years of marriage. That's how we ate off the land, because his jobs were kind of in between, and so whatever he caught or hunted, we'd eat it, and I'd put extra in the freezer. So that's what I did with most of it was, we'd either eat it or I'd put it in the freezer. And then the next grouping is nuts, seeds, grains, and sprouts. And you got nuts and seeds, grains, and sprouts. Now my husband bought me a Bosch and Meal. So I was in a food co-op, and I could order buckets of wheat, uh, dried corn. I would grind it and make my own cornbread. The flour, you could buy winter. I liked white winter wheat to make my bread. You can buy hard red, but I didn't like it as well. And you could also buy uh, pastry grain, grind it, and it would be very light, that you could use for pie crust, or, any kind of pastry you wanted. And nuts and seeds, the place where we lived had pecan trees, so I was always collecting pecans to make different dishes. and sprouts. I had I just used quart jars and would buy alfalfa seeds and sprout my own alfalfa sprouts. And I did do mung beans one time. But I always said that if times got hard, I would know how to feed myself. I know how to garden. I know how to milk goats. I know how to raise chickens. uh, but I wouldn't, at my age now, I wouldn't want to go back to that. But I did love milking those goats. It was an intimate time milking those goats, and I really enjoyed it. But if you are in a position where you live off the land, or you want to live off the land, uh, I would suggest this book. It is very comprehensive. It is well worth the money. I don't know how much I paid for it. I have no idea. But I used it quite a bit as a reference. So that is my Thursday booktube, brought to you by Life with Patti. That would be Patti. And my mountain home and kitchen, which is Daphne. And you are welcome to join anytime and share your books with us. What kind of books do you like to read? History, uh, cooking, romance novels, fiction, nonfiction. You know, we all want to hear what you have to say. So thank you for stopping by, and I hope you'll have a good afternoon, uh, a good day, a good morning, and please remember to be kind to someone. Someone needs your kindness today. Bye.